Hi and welcome back to Plastic Models by a Regular Dude and part 6 of the Airfix 1/48 scale Spitfire Mk XII. So last time I left off with basically all the construction is done. The only parts I need to install still on the model, I need to do the antenna mast. I need to paint this. But before I do that, I need to paint the inside of this framework on the canopy. So on this canopy, this hood here, the way it's designed is you either have this part if you have it open, or you have these two parts if you have it closed. If you have it closed, all you do is just put those in place and you're done. If you have it open, this part right here has to be cut out. It's about this much all the way around. Then this part here, this canopy has, you can see by the way I've taped it here, the inside is supposed to simulate the part of the fuselage here. Maybe make more sense once I do it. But what I need to do is I need to paint this the color of the fuselage in that area, and it just happens to be XF81, which is RAF dark green. So I'm going to get my paint mixed up in my airbrush and get ready to spray this part here. I just happen to have a bottle already mixed, at least a little bit, of XF81 with X22 clear and some X28 thinner, so I'll be able to paint this. And the reason I have the clear in with the paint is because this paint is so flat, I don't want to have to add too many layers. So by doing this, it'll give it a bit of a semi-gloss finish without having to actually put an additional semi-gloss coat on the model. So first things first, the inside of the lid here is kind of getting goopy, so I got to clean it out. Alright, so using the old Iwata HP M2 single action once again. Put a few drops in there. Alright, here's what it looks like with that internal part painted. So it gives the appearance of the fuselage underneath there. So now I need to mask the outside part of it so I can temporarily glue it in position on here so I can start priming and painting the fuselage. So I almost forgot, but I also had to tape the inside for that framework. So now I need to peel all this back off and continue with the inside, or with the outside. Alright, so I've got everything's all mashed off, ready to go. So now it's time for some primer. So for this, I'm going to use my black one-shot primer by Ammo by MiG, which is just rebottled Stynel Res. That's what I'm going to use. So let me fill up the old airbrush and get cracking. Alrighty then, here we go. So here it is, primed. So I'm gonna let this cure up really well. Then I can start working on masking. Actually, first thing I'll need to do is spray the underside color. Get that on there nice and solid. Then I can start masking for everything else. Okay, everything's primed and ready to go. So here is the plan. What I want to try on this particular kit is black basing, kinda. I'm doing my own kind of weird way of doing it, I guess. So I've got everything primed. I'm going to start with the bottom. And what I'm going to do is normally people who do black basing, from what I gather, is they do real fine, swirly, small mottling all over the surface that they're wanting to paint. That way when you spray a thin layer, kind of almost translucent but not quite, layer of the base color, you get some variation in the paint. So it's not just a solid color, has a little bit of variation to it, which adds interest and simulates weathering, stuff like that. So I'm going to demonstrate it on this part here that's underneath the nose, and I'm not going to go through all the little swirly stuff. I'm going to cheat and I'm going to use this right here. So I've already mixed up kind of an off-white, or I've diluted an off-white that I have, and basically it's just going to be like this. I may not do it on this paper because it's soaking it in. Well, let's see. So I'm just going to put this over it like this. See, like that. So that kind of breaks up the underlying paint some, or primer in this case. And then hopefully when I spray the other color over top, it'll have some variation to it. So we'll see how that works. And that is what we end up with. So let that dry for a bit, and then I can start spraying the bottom. All right, so now let us see how this works. So I'll do this part first, and we shall see. I got my paint and X22 clear mixture here. So let's see. I may not have enough in there, but we'll see. And the idea is to layer it up, not too much at once. It's easy to add more, but not so easy to remove. If I get to the end of it and I don't like it, well then I'll just paint it solid and just weather it from the outside. But so far, yeah, I kind of like that. That's looking pretty cool. So I'll just continue on. Alright, so here's the gray, and this is what it looks like. For my first attempt at quasi black basing kind of thing, I like the way it turned out. It's not just solid gray. It's got a little bit of variation to it, so I'm stoked. So I gotta let that dry a bit, and then I can start taping off so I can paint the base coat, the first base coat on the upper surfaces. Alright, the next thing I need to do here is, before I get too far, is I need to spray some aluminum paint along the walkways and around areas that there might be chipping, stuff like that. So I can do the hairspray technique and get some stuff looking pretty battered. So I'm gonna do that real quick. I'm gonna use my good old single action and Vallejo acrylic metal color. Alright, so I've got the silver and everything on here. Now I'm ready to actually start spraying the lighter color, which is ocean gray. So for that, I'm using Ocean Gray 2 RAF XF82. 1 part that, 1 part X22 clear gloss, and 2 parts X20A thinner. So what I'm gonna do here, since my tape seems to be giving me fits, because it's been on here for a couple of days actually, and it's very, very small contact point, I'm going to spray the leading edge of the wings first, and then I'll move on to everything else. That way, if it does come off again, it won't matter. Looks like this, yeah, this needs to come down a little bit like that. So I'm going to make sure that's pressed down really well. Everything else seems to be stuck pretty good, so I can start spraying that again. I'm going to use my HP M2 single action. So let me get this shaken up really good, and I can start spraying. Start out with just a little bit. I'll probably have to add more, but like I said, I want to hit that front leading edge first. Alright, so now I am working on the masks so I can do the next color, which is dark green. Now what I've done here is I have scaled up the instructions to the appropriate size, and then using Tamiya tape, I'm laying out a large section, and then I'm laying the, like for instance with the wing, I'll cut the whole wing out, and then I cut out the individual pieces. Then once I have that cut out, then I use a portion of it, whichever portion is the largest and single piece like. Lay that on the tape, and then use a fine Sharpie, trace the whole thing out, trace the part I want to cut, then I cut it, then I stick it in place. Now the wings should be are fairly easy to do because for the most part they're flat, and it's, you know, pretty easy. The fuselage itself will be a little bit more tricky, but shouldn't be too difficult. So I'm going to continue working on this. I will do, well, let me demonstrate what I'm doing here. Let me take this horizontal stabilizer / elevator, whatever you want to call it. Here's what I'm doing. Lay a piece of tape, lay another piece of tape, overlap it about, you know, 3/16 of an inch maybe. For you centimeter people, don't know what that is, so you'll just have to imagine with me. Make sure it's pressed down right there so it doesn't come apart when I peel it up. Then I take the Sharpie, trace around it thusly, like that. Then I make a little hash mark here and here, or wherever the demarcation is between the colors. That way I know where to line it up. So then for this, I just use scissors because it's a little easier than the X-Acto blade. Now I guess if somebody wanted to get real tricky, they could just somehow adhese the paper right to the model, but I like doing it this way because the Tamiya tape is a little bit flexible, so it makes it easy to deal with, you know, surface detail and stuff like that. All right, so then I put this on here like this, line up my hash marks as good as I can. Doesn't have to be exact in a case like this. Then I draw my mask like that, and I cut beyond, that way I can have some overlap around the edges of the wings or the horizontal stabilizers, whatever I'm doing. Now for this, I'm going to have to do a little bit of extra cutting because I have the control surfaces dropped. So, matter of fact, oops. Yeah, I'll just have to wing that one, but because you can't really see, so I'll just have to wing it on that one. But anyway, now I've seen, and I would like to try, I just haven't done it yet, there's a type of blade that you can get for your X-Acto that's a swivel type blade, so it makes this kind of stuff a little easier. I've just never tried it. Actually, I'm not gonna have to. I'm backwards here. This part right here is discarded because that's the dark, so that makes that a little easier. It's just the other side will be a little bit different. All right, and then you want to have, like in this case, this angle here coincides with the angle of the elevator. So then I get my tweezers. You know what? I need to cut this off as well. Like that. Then I take this, and carefully put it in place there. Make sure this edge right here and this edge line up. Then the rest of it I just kind of press into place. Because this up here, I will continue. I'll continue on with that whenever I'm doing the actual side profile. And that's all there is to it. That was kind of a simple piece to do, but I wanted to make it easy for demonstration purposes. But that's all there is to it. So I'll now do the other thing, the exact same thing on the other side, and then I can start working on the sides of the fuselage. Okay, so I've got the whole thing masked off, so now I can start painting the second camo color, which in this case is RAF green, which is XF81, which I've got mixed up with some X22 clear to make it a little bit of semi-gloss. And as I did on the other color, I've added some white here. Well, not really white, it's kind of off-white, to kind of break up the uniformity of the paint. So I've got it all mixed up here. Again, I'm going to use my trusty Iwata HPM2. And spray away. Alright, so I've got it painted. Now it's time to peel off the masking tape and hope it all turned out like it was supposed to. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a glove to hold it because I don't want to get any fingerprints on it. And start peeling. Alright, so here it is with the masking tape peeled off. So the next thing I need to do, whoops, I forgot a piece right here. Wow, I forgot a couple pieces here. So let's peel those off real quick, shall we? Like that. And like that. There we go. Alright, so here's what needs to happen next. Next thing I need to do is I need to tape off for this band here, because I'm going to spray that on. I'm not going to use the kit decal, and that is the same color as the spinner, so I already have some mixed up. And then I need to mask off for the yellow leading edges on the wing tips. So I need to mask that off and get that ready for the yellow. Alright, so here's where it sits. I got the band painted on the back of the fuselage, and I got the yellow painted on the wingtips, front leading edge of the wingtips. So the next thing to start is going to be, I think I'll do some detail painting next, which will be like the exhaust. And, well, really that's all I need to do, detail painting, is the exhaust. And I also need to paint the silver part of the gear struts. So I think with that, before I start that stuff and then get on to the decals, I'm going to call this video quits. So next time, come back, detail painting and decals. So thanks for watching this episode of the Airfix 1/48 scale Supermarine Spitfire Mk XII. So stay tuned for the next episode, and as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you all later.